You know what most men consistently get wrong about love? They believe women fall through logic, through carefully chosen words, grand gestures, flowers on special days, and compliments wrapped in charm. They pour effort into the act of attraction, thinking love is something they can earn like a reward. But here's the real truth, one most never realize until it's too late. A woman doesn't fall in love with what you say. She falls in love with how she feels when she's around you. Not consciously, not all at once, but gradually, softly, silently, deeply. It's not about the gifts, the candlelit dinners, or perfect timing. Those things fade. What stays with her is the emotional experience she connects to you. It's how her nervous system relaxes in your presence. It's how your energy either calms her or unsettles her. And most of this happens below the surface, beyond words, beyond logic. So no, I'm not here to hand you a shallow checklist of tactics. I'm not going to teach you how to pretend your way into someone's heart. I'm going to show you the real foundation, the psychology, the deeper patterns that make a woman feel emotionally drawn to you, sometimes without even knowing why. The kind of grounded presence, emotional strength, and internal stability that create an unexplainable attachment. Because when you understand these core principles, you stop trying to impress women, and instead become the kind of man who naturally draws connection. Point 1. She falls for how you handle her silence. Here's something most men completely overlook. When a woman goes quiet, when she withdraws, seems distant, or emotionally off, she's not just in a mood, she's observing. She's subconsciously watching how you respond to that silence. Do you get nervous and start talking too much to fill the gap? Do you pressure her for answers she's not ready to give? Or do you remain calm, composed, and grounded? See, a woman doesn't fall for the man who chases her when she retreats. She falls for the man who stays steady, the one who doesn't flinch when things feel uncertain, because your emotional stillness in her silence tells her something louder than words ever could. I'm not here to control you. I'm here to hold space for you. And that unshakable calm is what begins to build trust, not forced, not earned, just felt, in her nervous system, in her body. Without even realizing it, she starts to feel safe around you. And safety, that's where real connection begins. Point 2, she falls for the man who doesn't flinch under pressure. There's a moment in every growing connection where emotions rise. Hers, not yours, and how you respond in that moment determines everything. Most men, even the well-intentioned ones, collapse under emotional pressure. When a woman becomes overwhelmed, upset, or vulnerable, they rush in to fix things. They try to patch her pain with logic, defend themselves to feel in control, or escape the discomfort entirely by withdrawing. But what they fail to understand is that her emotional expression isn't a problem to solve. It's an invitation to witness. The man who stays calm when emotions run high, who remains present, composed, and steady, that's the man she begins to trust on a level she can't quite explain. He doesn't try to interrupt her storm with solutions. He doesn't rush her feelings to get back to normal. He simply listens. He breathes. He allows her to unravel without judgment or fear, holding space for her to be exactly where she is without trying to steer her out of it. That kind of presence is rare, and to a woman it's magnetic, because when she realizes she can show you her chaos and you won't flinch, when she sees that her depth doesn't scare you, intimidate you, or send you running, something powerful happens. She softens, her guard begins to drop, and beneath the surface, without needing to say it, she starts to attach to you. Not because you saved her, but because your emotional steadiness allowed her to save herself in your presence. That's not just attractive, it's unforgettable. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing, but I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. Point 3. She falls for the man who protects his energy. There's something quietly powerful about a man who values his peace, a man who doesn't feel the need to chase every conversation, over-explain his intentions, or beg for someone's time just to stay in their good graces. And make no mistake, women notice that. She can feel the difference between a man who's grounded in his own worth and a man who's constantly seeking validation. When you don't respond to every message out of urgency, when you don't contort yourself to be liked, when you show up with presence but not desperation, your energy communicates something rare: self-respect. That kind of restraint isn't cold, it's magnetic, because it signals that your energy is not up for grabs, that it's something sacred, something earned. You're not withholding to play games, you're simply discerning. You choose carefully where your focus goes, and you don't give access to anyone who hasn't shown they can respect it. And that, to a woman who's used to men bending over backward for approval, feels different. It commands a different level of attention. Women fall for men who have emotional boundaries, not because they're distant, but because those boundaries say, I know my value, I know my limits, and I protect both. That's not arrogance, it's emotional leadership. And to a woman seeking true partnership, it's one of the most attractive forms of strength she can feel. Point 4. She falls for the way you make her feel in her flaws. Let's be honest, anyone can love someone when they're easy to love. When she's radiant, confident, playful, and saying all the right things, affection comes naturally. But that's not when she's watching you the most. What she's really paying attention to is how you respond to her when she's not polished, when she's moody, uncertain, emotionally tired, or just feeling off. Those are the moments where her guard is down, where she's no longer performing, and where your true character becomes visible to her. She's not consciously testing you, but on a deeper level, she is. Not to manipulate, but to understand. Can I be fully human around you? Can I have bad days and still be held with care? Can I show you the parts of me that aren't curated for the world and still be met with respect? And this is where most men fail, not because they are unkind, but because they don't know how to hold space without judgment. But the man who doesn't flinch when she's messy, who doesn't withdraw when she's emotionally complex, who doesn't try to fix her into something easier to deal with, that man gives her a rare kind of permission, the permission to be real. And it's not perfection that makes a woman fall, it's safety. The safety to be imperfect without fear of rejection. When she feels like she doesn't have to hide the parts of herself she thinks are too much, and you're still there, still steady, still kind, that's when she begins to open. That's when she starts to trust. And that's when love stops being an idea and starts becoming a lived experience. Point 5. She falls when you lead without controlling. There's a quiet kind of strength that most men overlook, a strength that doesn't shout, doesn't demand, and doesn't seek to dominate. It's called leadership, but not the kind you see in power plays or ego-driven control. It's the kind of leadership that's calm, intentional, and rooted in clarity. When you lead with quiet confidence, not to overpower her, but to offer direction without pressure, it creates something deeply attractive and profoundly comforting. You don't need to bark orders. You don't need to prove you're in charge. Instead, you make thoughtful decisions. You move with purpose. You plan with care. You create structure without rigidity. And what happens, almost without you noticing, is that she begins to relax around you. She starts letting go of her need to micromanage or overthink, not because you've taken control from her, but because your grounded presence invites her to trust it. And that's the key, trust. When a woman feels like she can exhale in your presence, when she knows you're leading with intention, not ego, that's when emotional attachment begins to form. It's not about controlling the pace of the relationship. It's about showing her that she doesn't always have to be the strong one, that she can soften, that she can trust where you're going because you trust yourself to get there. Leadership isn't about dominance, it's about direction. And when a woman feels that you can hold direction without controlling her, she begins to feel something rare, emotional safety wrapped in quiet strength. That's what creates connection that lasts. Point 6. She falls for the way you don't force connection. Real connection isn't something you can rush, and yet so many men try. They overshare too early, diving into deep emotional territory in an effort to prove authenticity. They press for vulnerability, ask intense questions too soon, or try to manufacture intimacy through intensity. But what they don't realize is that true closeness can't be forced. It has to emerge, and the man who understands that, who gives space for connection to unfold naturally, is the one she remembers. You don't pry. You don't fill every silence with questions just to keep things from feeling awkward. You're comfortable letting things breathe. You're attuned to the rhythm of her comfort and pace, not trying to speed it up to meet your own expectations. And when she finally begins to open, when she starts to share the pieces of herself she keeps hidden, you don't jump in to fix, compare, or redirect. You simply listen, not to respond, not to impress, but to understand. That kind of patience is rare, and in a world where so many people are trying to be heard, the one who offers space to be seen stands out. She feels it. She feels your respect in the way you don't demand access to her inner world, but instead wait for an invitation. And when she realizes that your interest isn't performative, it's grounded, sincere, and steady, that's when something deeper takes root. Because emotional safety isn't created through words. It's built in the silences you don't rush, the stories you don't interrupt, and the space you allow for her to be fully herself. That's how real bonds are built. Not all at once, but moment by moment, in the presence of a man who doesn't need to force the connection to believe it's real. Point 7. She falls for the life you're building without her. Here's the paradox most men never quite grasp. The less you need a woman to complete your life, the more naturally she'll feel drawn to be a part of it. Not because you're distant or indifferent, but because you're already in motion, already building something meaningful with or without her. And that quiet independence, that grounded sense of direction, is magnetic in a way that no charm or strategy can replicate. When your life has rhythm, when you're waking up with purpose, pursuing your passions, handling your responsibilities, and moving with intentionality, she notices. She sees that you're not just talking about your dreams to sound impressive. You're living them. You're not waiting around to be chosen. You've already chosen yourself, and in doing so, you radiate something rare, inner fulfillment. That's what captivates her. Not your need for her to make you feel whole, but your ability to be whole on your own. She doesn't want to be the center of your world. She wants to be in your world. And when your life feels like a meaningful journey, not a stagnant waiting room for a relationship to begin, that's when she starts wondering how she might fit into the story you're writing. Because women don't fall in love with men who orbit around them. They fall for men who are moving, men who are rooted in their vision, men who are in love with their own lives. She doesn't want to be your purpose. She wants to witness your purpose and feel inspired by it. And when she sees that you're building a life that doesn't require her, but welcomes her, that's when her curiosity turns to desire, and her desire into deep connection. Point 8. She falls for the way you stay unavailable, emotionally controlled. Let me clarify something important. Being emotionally unavailable doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being composed, steady, and unshakable. It means you don't get rattled by every mood swing or emotional shift she throws your way. You're not desperate for constant reassurance, nor do you overreact to the ebb and flow of her feelings. Instead, you hold your ground with calm confidence. That steadiness creates something rare and magnetic, what I call emotional gravity. When a woman senses that her chaos, her ups and downs, her vulnerabilities don't shake you, she feels a deep pull toward you. You don't chase her or cling to her. Instead, you attract her simply by being immovable, unwavering in your sense of self. That unwavering presence sparks her curiosity, turns into desire, and before long, her desire blossoms into true emotional attachment. If you truly want to understand how women fall in love, here's the biggest truth. Stop obsessing over what to say or what to do. Instead, focus on who you are when she's around. It's not about the words you choose or the grand gestures you make. It's about the energy behind everything you do and say. Be the man who makes her feel deeply seen, even in silence. Be the man who creates safety amid the chaos. Be the man whose life is so full, so grounded, that she's drawn to it naturally without needing to be the center of your world. If this message resonates with you, drop a comment below with emotional gravity and let me know you're watching till the end. And remember, real love isn't something you chase, it's something you become. Become the man who makes love impossible to ignore. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If this message resonated with you or gave you something to think about, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. I've got more real talk, growth, and power coming your way, so stay tuned. Also, I offer limited one-on-one coaching for anyone struggling with girls. If that's you, feel free to reach out. We can work through it together and get you results. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.